All right. Okay. So tell us about Tanzania. What was it like in Tanzania? How did you wind up in Tanzania?
Then we'll have to go from the start. So, I decided to take a whole year break from work to travel and festival all over the world in a normal world. So, like a year and a half ago, because I just felt like doing that. And so I did without any COVID thing on anyone's mind yet.
Which month was this?
I decided to do it like in November, December 19 to start doing it around February 20.
Okay.
And then I left on the 13th of February. I took a whole year break from work, which we can just easily do in Belgium. You just keep your job, you just don't get paid, and then you go back and get paid again. And
Nice.
everything stays the same. And if you work for the government, by the way, not if you work for
Yeah.
a company. And then I had a whole travel plan figured out. I was gonna go to Australia for 3 months, do a whole bunch of festivals, maybe pop into New Zealand for a bit, maybe a little bit Fiji or something crazy paradise looking island. Go back to Belgium end of May, when basically the summer festival kind of starts kicking off in Europe. Go to a bunch of festivals and help with the festival I'm in the organization of in Belgium, which is end of June, and then do a whole tour around Europe, traveling and festivaling all over Europe, and then by the end of the summer in Europe, taking off again probably to Southeast Asia, do a bunch of festivals and traveling there, end up in maybe Australia again, and then end up here.
So
in
the trip of a
Caribbean.
lifetime. That was what's supposed
Yeah.
to happen. What actually did happen?
But then after 1 month, Australia, the whole world and all the festivals shut down. So there was no point in going back to Belgium for me, because I took a whole year break from work, and sitting in Belgium doing not even work is just not possible. So I stayed in Australia. I rented a van, kept driving around, did the whole East Coast, which was not even allowed in the first 2 months. You were not allowed on the road, but I did it anyway. It was amazing. Then after 6 months Australia, I decided to go back to Europe, because the situation in Europe was clearing up in the summer, last summer. And then I traveled around Europe, did a bunch of islands in Greece and Italy, went to Holland, France, Germany, Belgium.
Okay. So
And
what was
then-
it like traveling in Europe?
During that time, it was pretty okay. In the summer, a lot of restrictions were lifted, and it was doable. Like,
Let me ask you this: do you know anybody that's died from COVID?
I don't actually.
Do you know people that have had it?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was their experience like?
Most people lost their taste and smell and felt like bad for a few days. Tired and unwell and flu-like-ish.
And then they're better.
And then yeah.
Yeah. So so why do you think the whole world has been shutting down?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's where the point that you will come to, because then I left Europe and I went to Africa, where it was quite okay. Went to Egypt, Kenya, and then I ended up in fucking Zanzibar,
In Zanzibar,
where
in Tanzania, where they had zero restrictions, right?
nothing. You can just literally walk out of the plane and throw your mask away in a bin, and that was that. And then there's no restrictions, nothing's closed. Parties, festivals, clubs, everything can go on. All restaurants are open. You don't have to wear a mask. There's no social distancing. There's no fucking crosses on the floors. There's no posters that you have to wash your hands every fucking 2 meters. Nothing. Just nothing.
And then everything's fine.
And I was there for more than 3 months, 3 months and a half.
Well, did
Partying my ass off.
so you were there for 3 months. Did you speak to people who were concerned about COVID? People who were afraid of getting sick there?
Basically, most people who came to Zanzibar kind of knew it was like that, so they were kind of prepared on, yeah,
But-
back to normal life. The funny part was the people who didn't know, they arrive in a country where all of a sudden they getting weird looks when they're wearing their mask. And they're like getting weird looks when they're like keeping their distance, and they're like, or not shaking hands or doing the fist bumps or whatever.
Yeah.
So but I mean, after 1 or 2 days, they're totally adjusted.
Yeah.
Some people were not feeling too well about it, but that was a little minority fraction of people. Most people were pretty fine after a while, and they just settled back into normal life.
So what do you think caused this miracle that Tanzania does nothing about COVID and nothing bad really happens?
The fact that they didn't do the fact that they cut off all the restrictions and all that shit is well, a few things. One of them was that the president announced that they did tests on goats, bananas, and another thing,
Papaya.
papaya, and they all came out positive. So, and then he did a prayer for his whole population that they were gonna be fine, and then they all believed that, and they're fine. And it works, apparently, because
Well, yeah.
I was there for 3 months and a half, like partying my ass off in clubs and parties. Well, most of the things are outdoors. That's also, people live outdoors and people are very young. So that's maybe also, even the tourists. But the population of Tanzania and Zanzibar is very young as such anyway. So the outdoor living, the young, healthy people, maybe those two factors, the climate probably has a input on that. I don't know.
Was your experience similar in other African countries that you went to?
No.
Okay. What about other countries?
In Egypt, Egypt was pretty fine also. They don't care too much about it, and it hasn't risen like crazy. Kenya had a bit of a harsher mask wearing and curfew stuff in place, and apparently they also had more cases.
Well, of course, the more testing you do, the more cases you have, obviously.
Maybe
If you don't test, then...
Zanzibar doesn't do any testing, but then also, well, one thing I was kind of afraid of when I was in Zanzibar, I was partying like every night, going to clubs, parties, mingling with people for weeks and weeks and weeks, almost every day. And okay, there were definitely cases, but it's not that when someone needed to go to the hospital for a PCR test to be able to fly back home, that they walked into a hospital that was fucking completely congested and going completely mental. The hospitals were not overloaded or anything like you would expect. So how does that happen? I don't know.
Well, so what's your perspective on COVID? Do you think it's completely fake, or do you think it's just exaggerated, or what?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. I've been in countries where they are very strict and the cases keep rising, and I've been in countries where there's nothing and the cases keep dropping. I don't get it. I don't know.
Well, how about in Belgium? They've locked down a lot in Belgium, right?
Yeah. And now
Okay.
they're slowly opening up again.
Okay.
Cases are, I don't know, I'm not following it. The amount of cases or the rise or decline. I mean, if you want to follow that for every country, that's a full-time job, man.
Yeah, do you have friends and family who have been vaccinated? Are you going to
My
get vaccinated? Yeah.
My dad got his first vaccination because he's an elderly person. I have a few friends who got vaccinated already, but it's going quite slow apparently in Belgium for some reason. But I'm also not really following it. I've been traveling and
Okay, so where else have you been? We're in Panama right now. Have you been?
from Tanzania, I came to Costa Rica, came to Panama, was supposed to go to Colombia and then back home. But I'm probably gonna skip Colombia because I have no more time, and Colombia is going crazy on other shit than COVID. They got better things to do, like protest against a
Yeah.
fucking president who invents some new taxes while
Yeah.
his population is suffering
Yeah.
Which is also completely mental. Instead of helping your people, he's fucking them.
Yeah, well, I mean, nothing new about that. But yeah, how about political resistance in different countries to the measures that that the governments have put in place? Have you seen evidence of a resistance moving, a resistance movement?
Well, I've only like literally with my own eyes, or like in the news or online.
Well, let's start with your own eyes.
No.
Okay.
Like not like obviously I've seen people not willing to wear a mask, but in the end they will when they're asked for, which is all. I mean, like I don't think the mask wearing is really gonna help the whole situation anyway. But I just do it when people ask me to do it because I don't want to be a fucking dickhead towards people who care about it. So. I have no problem with that. But some people do, but that's really very rare. Very rare. But obviously...
It's rare where? It's rare in Belgium, or it's
where
rare...
I've been.
Of
me,
you,
as
yeah.
my experience, like I've seen a few, maybe 1 or 2 times, someone like really getting like annoyed by I'm not wearing the fucking mask, fuck off, and walking away or something, but
Yeah.
not that much.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I've been.
Right.
I haven't been in Belgium for 1 year and a half. So.
Okay, where's the worst place you've been in terms of the restrictions?
Well, they're kind of different everywhere. The worst place in terms of restrictions.
Or where's the place with the least restrictions? Is that Tanzania?
That's Zanzibar. That's without a question. There is no restrictions, so it should not be on the list of worst or best. There's just none. So
Very cool. So what message would you have to? I mean, it seems to me like this was a very good decision that you made to go traveling for a year at this time, because otherwise you would have just been locked in your home, right?
First of all, I didn't make the decision to go travel due to COVID in my own country and escape from it, or go traveling because of it. I already made the decision before, and I was already traveling while COVID hit the fucking world, and I was in a nice place, being Queensland in Australia, where there was almost no cases, and you didn't have to wear a mask, you didn't have to keep social distancing, and bars and restaurants were, and a lot of places were closed. Basically everything was closed the first month, but you were still allowed to go exercise on the beach or without wearing masks and stuff like that. So, and it's a pretty big country, so it was really nice. And there was no point for me to return to a country where I would be locked in my house without even being able to work from my own house.
For sure.
I just took a whole year break from work. So that was a good decision, yeah. But
So out of everywhere you went in the past year, where would you most recommend that people visit?
I would just in general say keep fucking traveling. And I mean it's a full-time job right now to figure out all the restrictions and measures and which countries you can go to and not, and what you have to do to get there. You have to get a QR code, you have to get an insurance, you have to wear your mask, is there a curfew, what's open, what's not, can I visit a fucking island or not, are there even tours operating, or it's a full-time job, I'm telling you. But I mean, if you just want to be somewhere without restrictions, then you should go to Zanzibar, or apparently Mexico is quite open also. But that should not be the main point. I think people should show that they gotta keep traveling no matter what. It's a basic freedom, and we were living in a very free world before this happened. We were able to just fucking jump on a plane that you booked 2 hours before to the other side of the world.
If you could pay for it.
If you can pay for it. So
Yeah.
keep working, guys, and then use your money to travel. No. Yeah, of course, if you can pay for it. But that was already the case. That didn't change now. It only became actually.
Oh, it's getting more
that did
expensive
change.
with the
That
test.
did change a lot. It became a lot more expensive, especially with all these fucking tests that you have to do every time you go to a country. which are still way too fucking expensive, and trying to look for the cheapest flights, for example, became so much more difficult, and sometimes you have to choose the more expensive option because it lets you go through a place where you can easily transit, because some places even ask you for a test just to transit, if you don't even need a test for your destination, stuff like that. So yeah, I hope this shit is over soon.
All right,
Soon
what
as
message?
possible.
All right, thank you very much.
Keep traveling.